progress is happening. They don't have to tell us everything, that's not their job. They can't just say, we're going to revalue the currency tomorrow at $4 or $2 or $1 because it's like insider trading. That's not going to happen, but what they are doing is they are giving you data to some extreme, especially since al-Sudani has taken office. The discovery of the largest oil storage in the center of the country with 2 billion barrels. Every time we turn around, we find out Iraq has more resources. Gold, rare earth minerals and even more oil. This is $140 billion more in oil to support their currency. Question: when you say very soon, does it mean the same as in Iraq? No. Very soon in Iraq is something different from the United States of America. We're on a New York nanosecond. We're not on a New York minute. We want things done now, as fast as possible. Chinese ambassador: trade with Iraq reaches $50 billion. Yuan transactions in early stages. Another scenario is a potential revaluation or redenomination of the currency. This could occur if Iraq's government and central bank aim to simplify transactions and improve the currency's global perception. Such moves often depend on strong economic fundamentals and international support. Ultimately, the future value of Iraq's currency will hinge on a combination of political stability, economic reforms, global oil markets and the country's ability to manage these factors effectively. For now, the dinar's prospects remain uncertain, with opportunities for growth balanced by significant risks. For now, the dinar remains a speculative currency. The Iraqi dinar faces several potential scenarios for its value in 2025. One possibility is a gradual appreciation in value. The country's vast oil reserves are its economic backbone. If global oil prices remain high and Iraq increases production, the influx of foreign currency could strengthen the dinar. Additionally, diversifying the economy and reducing corruption could boost investor confidence and attract foreign investment, further supporting the currency's value. On the other hand, the dinar could remain stagnant or face depreciation. If global oil prices drop significantly, Iraq's reliance on oil revenues could strain its budget and weaken the dinar. Inflation or issues in managing monetary policy might also negatively impact its value. The critical part is we want to see them advance to the budget schedules, but the rate has to change before the schedules can be approved. The schedules are the line items in the budget that are calculated off of the new currency value. Use. The 21st of January 2025, everything starts. We are finally here. X tweet: Iraqi Embassy in Washington, the US. #Iraqi relationship is strengthened by deeper economic ties. #Iraq welcomes US investment in all sectors under a business-friendly at real Donald Trump administration. Government representative in Parliament sends an amendment to an amendment regarding budget law. This one is specifically on rate, and they are pushing to have the budget settled. This is also about the oil in the Kurdish region. We should have had action on this today. They are waiting to squeeze in one last number, then we should budget tables and rates. When they adjust budget tables, it's an ideal time to adjust value. There is some pretty exciting stuff coming for Iraq this morning. Iraq enters a new phase of cooperation with America after Trump assumes the presidency. We've always said, don't run to the bank. I said walk, take your time. You want to take your time, because you want to see any changes. You want to see any mistakes that have been done that are being corrected by the bank or the CBI, whatever it may be. Take your time in doing this. Once the exchange starts, it's not going to stop overnight. You're going to have plenty of time. The Kuwaiti dinar currently is the strongest currency in the world. 31 Kuwaiti dinars for every US dollar. If you do the math, it turns out to be about $3.22. Quote: it's worth noting Kuwait, has about 7% of the world's oil reserves, which greatly supports the value of the currency. According to 2023 data, Iraq has significantly more oil reserves than Kuwait, with Iraq holding approximately 145 billion barrels of oil compared to Kuwait's 101.5 billion. Iraq has 43% more oil than Kuwait. Kuwait's currency is strongest in the world. Iraq has the ability to be at least 43% more valuable based off oil, let alone their non-oil revenues. Pretty exciting times. We're most concerned with the dinar at the contract rate, which our contract rate on the dinar is tied to North Sea Brent crude oil, and if it's 80, well, that's what the contract rate is, and that's the North Sea Brent crude price. A few days ago, it fluctuates a little up, a little down, but it's trending up, it's trending higher. So that's a good thing to be aware of. Mark, look at IQD on Z and see what it says. It started showing up on Saturday. Marks, we are seeing some crazy rates and values. Buckle up, it's going to be a crazy couple of days. Iraq's got 43% more oil than Kuwait. What? Kuwait doesn't have his non-oil revenues. It's very powerful. It shows Iraq is totally capable of having a real effective exchange rate that could be at least competitive and similar to the region. A report by the American Hudson Institute warned, on Tuesday, that the lack of fortified aircraft shelters at American bases in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond may constitute a flaw in the conflict against China, which seeks to neutralize American air power. The report, translated by Al-Malama Agency, stated that while Beijing has doubled the total number of its hardened and unhardened shelters over the past decade, allowing it to house and hide most of its fighter aircraft, the United States has done little to increase the number of its shelters, leaving them exposed to missiles. Beijing has built shelters on the understanding that its aircraft would be attacked on the ground in the event of a conflict, yet the United States has been somewhat indifferent to strengthening bases in locations such as Guam, Japan and the Philippines despite China's massive investment in missiles and attack aircraft, he added. In the early days of any conflict, it is a given that China would unleash massive firepower against U.S. air bases, seeking to neutralize U.S. air power on the ground, he continued, noting that an alternative explanation for the air campaign in Iraq could be that despite near-total air superiority, the use of more than 2,780 fixed-wing aircraft, the failure of Iraqi strikes against Allied airfields, and 5 weeks of Allied strikes against Iraqi targets, the United States and its allies destroyed only 63% of Iraq's hardened air shelters. An adversary with superior air defenses that can compete with US and Chinese Air Force operations will be better able to sustain operations, the report noted. The United States has been somewhat outlier in its position on fortifying air bases. In addition to China, Israel, Russia, and Ukraine have invested heavily in fortifying air bases. The Middle Oil Company, in cooperation with the Chinese company, EBS, announced the achievement of a major oil discovery in the East Baghdad South field. The company's general